A rich man falls in love with a poor girl of lowly status. To get the family to agree to his marriage, he deliberately spreads rumors of a curse on the Chui family, so that no one would marry him. The family had to buy the girl back as the man's first bride, to sacrifice the curse, and the man was able to marry the girl of his choice. But on the day of his wedding, the groom suddenly collapsed on the ground. The bride fled the scene immediately. The groom searched everywhere, but all he found was a shoe on the edge of a cliff. Everyone thinks she was killed by a curse. Unbeknownst to them, it was all an act of Shun Fu's own making. First, she secretly slipped ecstasy into the wine. Then she fled the place with the man she loved, leaving a shoe by the cliff on purpose, to make it look like she jumped off the cliff. Grandpa Jack sends his men around to find out. The same day that Shun Fu disappeared, a young man from the same village had also disappeared. Then he realized that they had already been seeing each other. It was all in Grandpa Jack's head, and Shun Fu was Annie's grandmother. She apologized to the Chui family for that, but Jack's dad reassured her. Although the relationship with Grandpa Jack was not yet fulfilled, but it's been extended to Annie and Jack. It was a blessing. Later, in the house where Annie worships the family god, thanking him for keeping watch over us. Early the next morning, Anna met Anne, who had come to visit her mother. By now Anna had given up her past obsessions. The two of them arrive at the ward. 2 years of treatment had not improved the woman's condition. Her eyes were still dazed. Annie takes the woman's hand and calls out softly. When she heard Anne's name, the woman said she had been waiting for her for a long time. Sincerely, she told Annie she was sorry. Annie, who was kind, forgave the woman. And Mike still dotes on Annie as a brother. He paid her a lot of money for a full body treatment. It was soon the day of the Chui family's ancestral ritual. Annie and the maids prepare the offerings. The rich man, disguised as a nanny with the children. Paul exclaims that he too wants to get married and have children soon. Curious, he asked which ancestor was being worshipped today. Annie said that apart from Grandpa Ko and Amy, who has continued the legacy of the Chui family. After the ceremony, Amy was able to eat for the first time in 100 years. She couldn't help but show off to the shaman, and the shaman asked her for advice. Wyan and Anna were not related, but they looked exactly alike. It turns out that shortly after they were born, out of spite for Anna's mother, Anna was deliberately changed to look like Annie. And that day, Jack's mother found Annie and gave Annie the key to the house of worship. She was truly the new mistress of the Chui family, and Jack and Annie were finally a couple.